We're live, brother. We're live. As I was saying before, to all the I'm gonna switch this for the camera. To all our 16 subscribers that we have and people who aren't loyal, right? Took a little bit of a break, had a 2-3 week hiatus, so apologies for that if you care to watch us at all. Unfortunately, the reason for the break was dude, is my mic sounding funny or no? Apologies for the 3-week hiatus.
Has it been 3 weeks?
I think so. It's been at least.
I think it's two.
No,
Weeks.
3 because it's gonna be 3 on Monday.
Wow. Apologies.
Yeah, a little bit of a hiatus there for all the 16 subscribers that we have, which we were discussing. We have more than 16 friends total. So
You know who you are.
for those who haven't subscribed, it's all good. You know
who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. We forgive, but we never forget. So it's fine. Yeah, we took a little bit of a hiatus. Unfortunately, Monday, January 12th, my father passed, which is crazy to even say out loud. And if I'm not mistaken, we recorded an episode 2 days before that.
On Friday. That Friday. Or
It was
Saturday.
Friday or Saturday because you came over and you're like, "Where's your pops?"
It was that Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously a lot has happened in with the world, but me and Pat thought it would be a good idea to kind of do like a tribute episode.
I mean, it'll be shorter than obviously than the regular one, like the big ones, because we're gonna be talking about your pops. But I feel like it's the least we can do.
Yeah, I agree.
We kind of talk about this all the time. It's one of those things where our sons will be able to listen to this, you know, this whole podcast when they're older. And for your son specifically, he's going to see all these pictures of him and your pops. And obviously those pictures are from a time where he wasn't really aware of what was going on. He wasn't understanding. He was too young. Mm-hmm. But then to see those pictures, see that, your dad's face, and then hear you talk about him, not just on here, and when you speak to him growing up, his whole life, you're gonna be telling him about one thing or another about your pops. But it'd be good for him to listen to as well, and just to kind of get to know the man in the picture is essentially who he's going. Because your dad is going to be eventually who's the man in the picture?
Yeah.
When he's going to ask you that one day, and as crazy as that might be, because hey, this is
I know who it is.
You know him, who he is very well.
Yeah.
And it's just, but Leo's going to ask him and be like, hey, who is this man?
Yeah.
And then he can listen to something like this, and yeah, I feel like it's the least we can do.
Yeah, I agree. And he he had commented a few times on, I think on Instagram, not sure if he ever listened, but I do know that he was a supporter, to say the least,
Of the podcast?
Yeah.
He was.
He was always like, "Oh, you're going to record today?" Nice.
Your dad would send me stuff too. He would send me stuff on IG. Something from an account with 3 followers. It was just
just some random shit.
Some random something about. But no, he listened. But he would tell me when I was here, next time you guys are going to talk about this. You guys are going to bring this up. So,
well, I think for starters, toast was in order. This is American, so double oak bourbon, whiskey finished with sherry oak. What is that? Staves? I don't know.
I can't read it.
Products of USA. Shout out Marcus. He brought this to me. Oh wow, that's a good whiff, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Do a little pour here.
Again, I keep going back to this, but anything is better than that oat nog.
Yeah, that was disgusting. Oh yeah. Quick little pour.
Oh, it does smell good.
It does. Whoa, easy there, Tiger. A little cheer here, huh? Hold on, let me get this out of the way. All right. Salud, my friend.
Salud. Your
Cheers.
pops was a real one.
Yeah, to my father. Worthy. A little strong.
That just ripped me.
Yeah, sting. A little sting right down the throat. Way to go, Marcus.
That'll warm me up.
Yeah, way to go.
Your pops is very, very missed.
Yeah. Still fake. Doesn't feel real. And it's just awkward. Dude, I can't even begin to explain to you how bizarre it feels.
Maybe tell everybody how, like, a little bit of a background, if you're comfortable.
Absolutely. But it's funny because we discussed this too. Like, you know, growing up, our parents or your mother was like, "Oh, you understand when you have a kid, right?" It's an emotion, obviously, that you never had before until your son was born. And I think when you lose a parent, it's because we've all experienced death.
Yeah.
Right? Whether, like, I've lost pets, you've lost pets, hurts like hell. And I have no grandparents left. All 4 have passed. And didn't affect me tremendously because when my dad's dad died, I was 9. And then his wife stuck around for a little bit, and then she ended up moving to Brazil. I don't remember, maybe 05, 06.
Yeah.
So she was there for a little bit. Ended up having a stroke, came back, because my dad and his brothers and sister were like, "No, you're not gonna, go through that and be in Brazil. So come back here." And then she passed away in 2019, but I never had an enormous relationship with her. So when she passed, I was sad. I cried. But that was it. And then my mother's parents, who died back to back, more so of old age, I think. I think my mom's dad was in his 80s. Her mom was either late 70s, early 80s. She had beat cancer twice. But they were in Brazil, so I never had a relationship with them. Right?
Yeah.
So I lost all 4 grandparents, and it didn't affect me like it affected you when you lost your grandfather. But yeah, dude, when you lose a parent, strange.
And for, like, just not to interrupt you, but for everybody who doesn't know, out of our group of friends, of all the guys, John is the first to lose a parent. So, not to diminish how John feels on this at all, but to kind of piggyback off, like, to essentially for us who are experiencing this, obviously not as his son, but as your friend, as your brother.
Yeah.
And obviously we've all had experiences with your dad. It was still weird because it's something that we don't know. None of us know how to deal with it. Like, and there's never really any words that we can say to you specifically, or to your mom or to your wife, to kind of make the situation better. There's no words, right? Obviously we know this, but even feeling it was something, like, it was unfamiliar because losing a father, like, you lost a father, and then we lost my brother's father, like a friend's father, which none of us have ever experienced either.
But you also all of you had a relationship with him. You know? It's not to put him, like, on a pedestal, like, oh, my dad was the greatest dad of all the dads, from our group, but everybody had a relationship with him.
Yeah, well, we came here a lot.
Yeah,
growing up.
Yeah,
like, we were always passing by your house. Like,
yep.
It was always like your house,
and he was a talker, so he always wanted to come out and
he was
say
always
hello.
having conversations, like, never shied away from, like, talking with all the guys, and that's what made it, like, that's why it hurt. Everybody. Like, it really hurt. It hit everybody.
It takes, you have a mom and a dad, right? You're not born without those two. Period.
Yeah.
Unless for whatever reason your mother passes while she's giving birth to you.
Right. Yeah.
But you have both, and now 50% is gone. One down, there's only one left. And when you only have,
it's a big chunk for one loss.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like,
when you think about it that way.
Yeah. We're a group of what? Seven or eight, right? So obviously if one of us, as we get older, if one of us goes, it's going to hurt, but we got 6 more. We're still going to feel it. It doesn't matter who it is. If it's me, if it's you, if it's Marcus, Danny.
Dude, I just realized you saying that right there just made me think, like, one of us is going to be the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, one of us will bury all of us. Would have buried all of us. That's crazy.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the last one. I definitely don't want to be the last one.
Well, when the first one goes, I'm outing myself. So,
dude, I just to imagine that. That's
Well,
wow.
Hopefully it's
one of us will be the last one.
Hopefully it's when we're all in our 80s.
Oh, absolutely.
You
But
know?
it's still like, even in our 80s,
Yeah.
like one of us is going to be the last one.
Yeah. Wild.
One of us will be the first one. Like, insane.
Wild thought. Wild
Yeah,
thought.
Insane. But
yeah,
sorry.
one is gone, and there's only one left. And again, if it's a group of friends, you can lose one. It's gonna hurt, right? It doesn't matter who it is. But we got 7 others to get each other's back and be there for each other. But with one down, like, it's such a massive chunk that's gone.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time, that at the stage of his life, I mean, you saw it. You came over here a bunch of times, especially in the last decade. He wasn't working, would literally just sit on the sofa and eat and watch TV or watch videos on his iPad. That's it. But, and the reason I say that is because, like, he wasn't on paper doing the I guess, like, the man of the house kind of things. Like, he wasn't working, he wasn't doing that stuff, but the presence was comforting. And with that gone, it's a void that it's just like, wow. But yeah, so the story started.
Yeah, maybe let everybody kind of know.
Yeah. I want to say, so the origination, is that even a word? I don't know. So
the origin?
The origin, yeah. The origin of the story was, if I'm not mistaken, my dad had got diabetes when he was, I want to say early 30s, maybe right after having me.
Is it
It's those pictures when he was chunky. He was a little overweight. Like, he must have lost like 50, 60 pounds.
Dude, that's true. I was looking at those pictures at the funeral.
Yep.
And
I
was surprised because I didn't meet your dad when he was that
pre-diabetes.
That big. Yeah. Okay.
So I think diabetes had an effect on the weight loss.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy. It was in the sense of, like, if his blood sugar got too low, he would, eat a Kit Kat or, suck on a pack of honey or something. Or if it got too high, he would, like, whatever the counter was, right?
Yeah.
But nothing major, because, like, I have a cousin in Brazil, my mom's sister's son. He was born with a diabetes off the rip, or got diagnosed when he was 6 months old, and he had, like, the pump attached to him. So he has insulin. Like, when I was there, he had a seizure. Like, he's been battling this his entire life. But my dad's diabetes is much more manageable.
Does it run in the family?
Good question.
Or was it strictly because of, like,
I don't think it was because of diet or anything. I mean, my dad was never a healthy person, but not in the sense of, like, ate crap all the time, like McDonald's and pizza, but just he was just, like the memories that I have growing up was, like, during the week was, like, rice, beans, ground beef, and
every other Brazilian household.
Yeah, every other Brazilian household. And then maybe on a Friday when he got home from work, he would order a pizza. And he would always, every Friday, do like clockwork. He would come home with a 6-pack of Coors Light every Friday. And that was his weekend. Only other thing health-wise that he did that wasn't good was he smoked cigarettes for a substantial amount of time. Probably, I want to say 2 decades, 3 decades maybe. I think he quit probably like 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm not going to say an unhealthy guy, but didn't, there was nothing super odd about
nothing that's like really that crazy.
Yeah. So now, mind you, growing up, I never saw him, just like me, I never saw him go to the dentist, never saw him go to the doctor's office, nothing, never go get a checkup, stuff like that. And I want to say this is a few years after high school. I might have been, I don't know, mid-20s, early 20s. You might remember this. The blood vessels in his eyes were, the diabetes was causing the blood vessels in his eyes to explode, right? And the eye regenerates new ones, but the old ones would stay there and they would cloud his vision. And because of that, he was a truck driver his whole life. He had a CDL. He drove dump trucks and couldn't renew his CDL, couldn't go back to work. So he tried for a little bit to kind of do like actual labor for a construction company, But it's difficult when you're in your late 40s, early 50s to do that kind of work. You know what I mean? Like you're at an age where it's like, yo, like this is for the young cats, you know?
Yeah.
So my parents were in not a lawsuit, but they were back and forth with, I guess, Social Security and all that stuff to allow him to retire early due to medical reasons. And it took like 3 years, but finally he was able to retire.
Yeah.
And then, so he retired early, got Social Security, got his, 401k or whatever retirement he had at the time. But 2 years, I believe, because I had just started dating my wife. We had been dating for a couple months. He was retired, and my father had not been back to Brazil since he moved here. So
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah, had not been back. Never went back.
Wow.
So since he was retired,
How much family does he have there?
I think his parents' entire family, like his dad's, I think still has like two.
And he had a relationship with them? Like he would talk to them while he was here?
No. But his like I think I was talking to my mom the other day. I think his dad's sister is still alive. She's over there. There's a and then his dad's sister's daughter. So like, you know what I mean? Like distant relatives, but they're there.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he had never gone back to see my mom's family either. My mom had went to Brazil 4 times up until that point, or 5 times, but he never went. So my mom was like, hey, let's take advantage now that you have infinite days off. You know, I think it was in the summer, so she was on break from her job because she works at the school, so her job was shut down for 3 months. So they bought plane tickets, both of them. And I remember like it was yesterday because I had texted my wife and I was like, my parents are going to Brazil for 3 weeks. I have the house to myself. It's going to be dope, right? And the day before, they were set to go on the plane. My dad, a day before or 2 days before, my dad goes to do a checkup to make sure everything's good, make sure that we were okay over there. And I think the day before or the day after, they called and they said, you can't go on that flight. I don't know what the word or the verbiage was that was used, but you have to start dialysis. So, which means
what would happen if you went on the flight? Did they say?
Well, I think the results were so rotten and like low, any kind of
that they had to fix it before he could fly, essentially. Because later, after that, he could fly, right?
No, because
he couldn't travel ever again.
Well, he could travel if he had found a place to do dialysis where he was going.
Right. Oh, okay,
but at that point, his kidneys were like not working properly.
Right. Okay.
So that's why he had to do dialysis.
Yeah.
So my mom went back and forth with United or whoever the ticket was to get a refund or at least get a credit, right? Because they couldn't go. And I remember the first thing was, if I'm not mistaken, he had to do a small surgery in his arm to, I guess, put like an artificial tube or some shit to do dialysis. Like a quick surgery, right? Just put something here, whatever. So they didn't go to Brazil. He had to do the surgery to get that put in so he can start dialysis. And he started dialysis, I think, like a month later. Mm-hmm. Like he had to do dialysis.
Yeah.
Because of his kidneys. And dialysis was 3 days a week. And for anybody who doesn't know what dialysis is, it's essentially you not having functioning kidneys. And kidneys are the filter of your body. And his was not doing that. And dialysis is essentially you being hooked up to a machine for 4 hours, taking your blood out, filtering it, putting it back in. Right. And he would do that 3 times a week. So, okay, started doing that. So
that was in when? 2020?
No, before COVID. It was the year of Marcus's wedding. So I want to say whenever Marcus got married, 2018, I think he got married, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it already 7 years it's been?
Yeah, because we were still working together at
8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess so.
So he starts dialysis. And to my knowledge, he didn't have any, other underlying health issues. other than that, which is still a big deal, but you
Yeah.
know, you know what I mean? So then you fast forward to 2021. Because I started working in the construction company with my uncle, I think the year after COVID hit 20. And I believe I started that job 21. So I think the summer of 21, my dad goes for either another checkup or something. And the doctor tells him that the 3 arteries that go to his heart, 2 were completely clogged and 1 was 70% clogged. So if they didn't fix that, he'd die of a heart attack or whatever, you know, your heart would stop.
Yeah.
So my dad gets a triple bypass, open heart surgery, summer of 21, I believe. We were there in the hospital for 5 hours. And I'm like, dude, this is major. It's not, it's not a Band-Aid you're getting or stitches. Like, this is major surgery.
Yeah, it's a big surgery.
So yeah, I mean, you're opening up the chest, taking fat arteries from other locations and attaching them, whatever they did. Huge surgery. 5 hours, makes it out. And he's good. And he was good for a little bit. Now,
Did they find out why he had because if he never had heart issues, why was his arteries clogged up? Did they ever really?
my mother's
Is that a result of the diabetes?
Yeah,
Is that a result of
that's
the
what
dialysis?
I think. No, diabetes. My mother has said from day one, she was like, it's a silent killer. Diabetes just destroys everything.
Yeah.
And so that, to my knowledge, because again, he's not, he was never a healthy person eating, lettuce and drinking water and being on a strict diet, but he was never, if you eat Strombolis all day, you're going to have clogged arteries, but
Right.
that's not what he was doing. So to my knowledge, it was because of the diabetes. And then a couple years goes by, and every now and again, he would have some other issue because like his whole life struggled with either like minor things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, whatever low this, high this, it's like just stuff like that. And stuff that you could probably just regulate with like vitamins, do like a 1 a day and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I know he's been to the hospital a few times with certain things. I just don't remember what it was because I think it was minor. But he had went to the hospital. So I don't know if it was before or after the open heart surgery. It might have been before, but I could be wrong. He had a couple stents put into his heart as well. Not into the heart, but like the veins of the heart, whatever. So he had done that. I think your father did that too, no?
My dad has 1.
Yeah. So my dad got 2 or 3. I don't remember. And I don't recall if this was before or after the open heart surgery. But so he did that. He did a small operation for that. And to this day, he had a big scar down his chest because like a massive line, which is just insane. Like the fact that you open up your chest and they do all that kind of witchcraft to get
go
you
through your sternum and everything.
Yeah,
Like
crazy. But other than the stents and the open heart surgery and the dialysis, those are the 3 biggest issues that he was having. And then I think the major thing that happened, and again, he had been to the hospital a couple times, stayed a couple days, but for minor stuff. He was always in and out of the hospital, whether it be because of tests or because of, whatever. But where I think this all started going downhill was my son's 2nd birthday, which you were there. I don't know if you remember. He almost passed out, right? Oh yeah, you were there because you brought him back here. So my mother makes an appointment for either the doctor or something to run tests, figure out what's wrong. I don't know if the doctor had sent him there or whatever, but he ends up going to the hospital. I remember because you visited with me when he was there. This was back in August because I remember Sansa, she had just had her spleen removed. That's my dog, if you don't know. Because he was there while that surgery was happening.
That's right. It was at the same time.
Same time. So he ends up going to the hospital. They run tests and they said his hemoglobin was low, which is either a count of your red or white blood cells. I don't know, whatever. On a regular person needs to be like 11 or 12. That's the number that it has to be. His was at like 3. So the doctor said, you got to do a blood transfusion, right? So
It's on top of the dialysis.
correct.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, the hospital, which obviously has more advanced machines, but he was doing the dialysis there. So he ended up doing 2 blood transfusions because the first one they did, it had to get to 11 or 12. The first one they did brought it up nothing, and then even the second one they did only brought it up to like 7 or 8. And I don't remember if he had to do a third or ended up doing a third. I don't know. But the doctor was like, this is now going to have to be a recurring thing, is you getting blood transfusions every couple months. So I'm like, all right, his health is declining.
And that's just because it's the same thing, right? Because his blood's not getting cleaned up.
So I don't know if that's a diabetes thing or if
It's like
that's
a liver thing, right? I feel like the liver is what cleans the
Yeah, I mean, we're not doctors, so don't
something like that.
Yeah. He was a mess. He was a mess internally, but it was nothing. It was nothing like major, like stage 4 cancer where you got a month to live.
Yeah.
So
it was all quote unquote under control,
right,
essentially.
Right. So he gets out of the hospital. He was there for about a week or so, something like that. And again, the doctor had said that he needed to do blood transfusions regularly. So I would imagine every couple months, whatever the case, right? Never did one again since that day, mind you, when he left the hospital. That was in August. And then fast forward to, I want to say early December. He was having an issue with his foot. So a package gets delivered from Amazon. It's a chair. It's a waterproof chair for him to shower or sitting down, and a cane. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, bro, you're 64. You're not 90. Like, you can walk. But in my mind, I'm thinking it's because he's weak. Like, the energy's not there. And since that blood transfusion, he wouldn't be able to make it from the sofa to the back door. Like, he would be gassed by the time he got to the kitchen. Like, just like weak, like not have energy. And in my mind, I'm like, all right, that's because you don't eat well or because you don't put any kind of nutrition in your body, right? Because my dad really, in terms of liquid, it was coffee and lemonade. Sugar-free lemonade or like lemonade with like Splenda, but and coffee. Never really saw him drinking water. He was never a water guy. But he would eat like every now and again like rice, beans, maybe some a salad here and there. But I never really saw him like eating like protein, like chicken, beef, something, But in my mind, I'm like, all right, you're just being stubborn. You're weak because of your diet. You're not eating well. And I never connected the two, that I was like, oh shit, it was actually the hemoglobin that was low. But anyways, I think early December, right, when the cane and that stuff got delivered, I'm like, bro, you're a young dude.
You don't need this.
You don't need this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, walk around.
You're almost being like you don't know what's going on, but you're almost being like positive. You're like,
yeah,
what are you talking about?
And
you're a young guy.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, you're milking this. You know what I mean? Like, walk. Like, I literally told him, I was like, yo, walk to the stop sign, come back. The next day, do it again. The next day, go half a block, and then just like start getting more active. Get your legs functioning. You know what I mean? Like, so you can feel better about yourself, right? Because that's what I'm thinking. I didn't even connect the two with the hemoglobin and all that shit. But anyways, so the cane gets delivered, and I only found out about 2 weeks before he passed that he had a cut on his foot, right? Oh, and on top of that, he was on blood thinners too. Okay, so it's just more and more things that just fill the glass, and. So then I'm thinking, and I didn't know about the cut on his foot until I saw it, and until about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before he passed. And my mom told me that she finally said, your dad has a cut on his foot, and he doesn't want to go to the hospital. Where he's going to a foot doctor. He waited. He milked it a little bit to go, and that was that. Never saw the foot, never saw anything. He wears socks just like me inside the house. He was never barefoot. So, and obviously I'm not seeing him take a shower. So I never saw the foot. And I'm thinking it's a cut from what I was told was it was a cut that's not healing, right? Okay. So fast forward to January 2nd, which was the day before my birthday and the day before Maduro got captured. My mom, it was a Friday. My mom goes to Brazil. She had to go because she had to do a procedure over there. And she was like, I'm going to Brazil for 3 weeks because I have to do a procedure and then I have to do a follow-up after the procedure. But also, I'm on break. I'm going to spend some time with my sister. I was like, yeah. I was like, relax. I got this, whatever. So that was Friday, January 2nd. January 5th, Monday, right? 3, 4, that Monday. I remember like it was yesterday. I'm leaving to go to work in the morning, and he goes, "Can you take me to the hospital? I have a scheduled tests to do over there." I was like, "I can't. I have to be at work at 7:30." So his appointment was like at 9 or something like that. So he's like, "All right, don't worry about it. I'll Uber." I was like, "Okay." He texted me, I want to say 9:30. I might even have the text. He texted me like 9:30 in the morning that Monday. And do I still have it? No. He texted me 9:30 in the morning. He goes, the doctor took one look at my foot and he said, we have to operate. So I'm probably going to stay here. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll take care of the dog. Like, take care of that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's Monday the 5th. And I'm calling him, texting him throughout the week, checking in on him. And, again, I have a wife, I have a son. Like, I'm working, and then thinking, looking back on it now, like I should have went there more. But I ended up talking to him on the phone, I want to say Wednesday. And I said, hey, like, any news? What's going on? And he's like, they're scheduling the surgery for Thursday, which was, let me see. Thursday was the 8th. And at that point, I was communicating with my mother at the same time. And I was like, Mom, like, he's really not, giving me too much. Like, what's going on? So, and he went into it a little bit with some detail. But so essentially what they were going to do is the reason why he was going to have surgery on his foot was because he had, I don't know if it was a vein, I don't know if it was an artery, but it was, I guess, clogged, and it wasn't sending blood to his foot, hence why the cut was not healing. Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. So from what he told me, they were going to go in, they were going to either clear a vein or, do something, clear it up real quick, and see you later, right? So I was like, all right, cool. And he was like, this is for Thursday, the 8th. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'll call you in the morning, touch base, so we can know what time the surgery is. Maybe I'll go there after, right?
Right.
So, no, I was at work, so I texted him Thursday, and I said, any news? And he goes, everything is postponed because I have the flu. And I was like, great. Now,
You got the flu in the hospital.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Because then I called him and I said, how you feeling? He's like, I'm not coughing. I don't have a fever. He's like, I feel fine, but they said I tested positive for the flu.
Right.
So they don't want to contaminate anything, so they got me isolated till the symptoms or whatever, the testing comes out negative. I was like, okay. So that's Thursday. And I deliberately did not go because on Christmas, my son got sick with the flu. 2 days later, I got sick. 2 days later, my wife got sick. So we all got smacked with the flu, and we were sick for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Fever, shivering.
I had the same. I got it too
headache.
during that time. Yeah.
Cough took my cough just went away like 4 days ago. That lingering cough, right? So I was like, listen, if you got it, we can't get it again, right? So, okay. And then Friday, we talk on Saturday, Friday we talk on the phone, the 9th, and he's like, hey, do me a favor, if you can swing by with some stuff, boxers, socks, shirts. He's like, I'm in the hospital clothes, but like I don't have any clean clothes. Like, bring me some stuff, bring my phone charger. I was like, no problem. So Saturday, the 10th, I call him and I'm like, hey, I'm working from home today. I'm off at 3:30. I'll swing by after. He's like, all right, cool. This is what I need. And when I talked to him on the phone, he was kind of woozy, like dozed off, but he had said earlier in the week that they were giving him morphine for the pain on his foot because he was he was like, bro, my foot is throbbing. Like it's so much pain I can't walk on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do you need? What do you need me to bring? He's like, socks and a charger and socks. Don't forget socks. And he said socks like 9 times. I was like, dude, it's like
He's woozy.
He's woozy.
You could tell.
And I was like, stop for a second. Just like, I got the socks. What else you need? And so I grabbed like a bunch of shirts, a couple sweatpants, his charger, and I brought it over there. This was Saturday night, and I saw him in the room, and he was sitting up on the bed, right? And like talking. He was chilling. He was like, dude, my foot, like it just hurts so bad. And I was like, all right, so what's the news with the surgery? So we can get this over with. And he was like, they don't know. Apparently I got the flu, they're waiting, whatever. And then I think while I was there, the doctor comes in, or like one of the nurses, and was like, hey, Carlos, we have the surgery scheduled for tomorrow, Sunday. I was like, oh, nice. Cool. So I leave the hospital. I call my Uncle Rich, and I was like, Uncle Rich, this is what's going on. Looks like the surgery is scheduled for tomorrow. So, I told my dad I'm going to call him in the morning. Because I was like, Dad, what time? And they were like, and I had called my dad that night as well, once he got more clarity. And he was like, they're scheduling it first thing in the morning. So he's like, I'm the first one in the room. I was like, all right, nice. So I called him Sunday morning, like 9:30, and I go, what's the news with the surgery? And I'm not kidding you. It was just like him on the other line was just like groggy. And I'm like, it's the morphine. I was like, Dad, can you hear me? He's like, oh, yeah. I was like, I'll call you back. I'll call you back in an hour, something like that. I was like, I'll let him, whatever. So this is like 9:30 in the morning. My wife goes with her sister to food shop. My son stays here with me. I put him down for a nap. And then my Aunt Jackie calls me. And she goes, have you spoken to your Aunt Marcia? And I was like, no. And she was like, we're on the way to the hospital. Your father's heart stopped, and we don't know what's going on. And I was like, okay. So I immediately called my Aunt Marcia. She was there visiting, and she saw him that morning. And then something happened. I think like pressures were going down. They kicked her out of the room, put her in the waiting room. And when they did that is when his heart stopped, and they brought him back with chest compressions. So immediately I called my mom on WhatsApp. I was like, Mom, I'm on my way to the hospital. I had called my wife. I was like, rush home. I got to go. You got to stay with Leo. He's sleeping, but I got to go. I you know what I mean? So I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, this is what's going on. Apparently his heart stopped. They brought him back. I'm on my way to the hospital now. And I will give you some more info when I get there. I was like, I don't know. And then she gets in a panic, and she's like, I'm coming home. I was like, relax. Let me get some info. Don't panic. We've been through this shit 8-9 times already. He's been in the hospital. He always makes it out. Relax. Take a breath. Hang up. I go to the hospital. I go to the floor where he was at. I couldn't go into the room. They put me in the waiting room with my aunts. And I'm just sitting there. And the nurse comes in, and she goes, who's the son? And I go, me. She's like, okay, you can come. She's like, only him. Like kin only. So I was like, okay. So I go into the room. He's awake. And I was like, anybody like want to explain what happened? And she was like, well, so he was here. He had some visitors. He had vomited, and then he started to doze off as we were taking blood or something. He started to doze off. We were calling him. He wasn't responding. And then we saw him. He flatlined. She was like, I brought out, and she was like, it's right there. She pointed it. She's like, I brought out the needle. I'm assuming adrenaline, whatever it is, when you stab somebody and bring it back, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, I brought it out. We were going to use it, but we did chest compressions for 9 seconds, and he came back. And I was like, okay. Now what? She was like, well, we don't know why this happened. So what we're going to do is we're going to move him to the CCU, which is the cardiovascular care unit. And we're going to run some tests because we need to find out why this happened. And I was like, okay, can we visit him there? She was like, yes. We're going to move him now. She was like, I think there's some more people in the waiting room for him as well. I'll follow you there and I'll explain the situation. And I said to my dad, I was like, he was awake. I was like, you good? He's like, yeah. Why is the nurse poking me? I was like, they're drawing blood. She was like, feels like I'm getting a tattoo. I was like, you're good, dude. Yeah. Like and he didn't know what happened. He was like, did I fall? Did I slip? Did I faint? He's like, I don't remember nothing. I was like, your heart stopped. And maybe thinking back now, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But I was like, your heart stopped. They brought you back. But he was still a little he was kind of like
he was there, but not all.
Yeah. So we go back to the waiting room, and then everyone's there. My cousin, his girl, my 2 uncles, their wives, everyone's there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the situation. This is what happened. And I obviously paraphrased a little bit. I wasn't, I'm not a doctor. Then the nurse comes in with one of her 2 nurses came in, and they go, okay, so as I explained to his son, this is what happened. And they kind of said this, they explained everything. His heart stopped, brought him back, yada, yada. And we're moving him to the CCU. So we need to run tests and figure out the situation. And then even my uncle was like, well, he was here for the surgery for his foot. And they were like, not happening right now. That's the least of our concerns. Our concern is figuring out why his heart stopped. Okay. We're moving him now. And you guys follow me. I'll lead you because it's in another tower. And then you can wait in that waiting room. And then you can go in to see him. Okay. Call my mom, and I said, Mom, so this is what happened. This is what the nurse told me, and he's getting moved. He's awake. I spoke to him, and my mom was like, I already changed my flight because she was not scheduled to come back until
another couple weeks, right?
2 days from now.
Oh, it was another couple of days. Okay.
No, 2 days from today.
Oh, yeah.
So from then,
few weeks.
Yeah, she was still 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from coming back.
Yeah.
And she's like, I changed my flight. I was like, okay. If that's what you want to do, no problem. And this is like 1:00 in the afternoon on Sunday. So we go to the waiting room, and it's a CCU. So, I mean, you've been in the ICU. So you don't share. There was no shared beds. Every patient had an individual room, you were in the room. It was a massive room, right? And in the waiting room, there's that little intercom, and I'm buzzing. I'm like, yo, my dad's in there. Can I go see him? They're like, not yet. And then we're there from like 1:00 till 4:30. We were waiting there for like 3.5, 4 hours. And I'm shitting my pants because I'm like, they were just moving him. And they were like, they're doing a procedure. And I was like, what procedure? So I'm like kind of freaking out. We all go downstairs because we were there for hours. We go downstairs, get a coffee. There's the Starbucks down there. And then I was like, yo, it's like almost 4. I was like, let's go back up. We'll buzz in again. So finally I buzz in, and I was like, and she was like, yeah, she's like, only the son can come. So I go, okay. So I walk in, and they were like, first room on the left. So I go in, and he's awake. He's, the back of his bed was inclined like that. He was sitting up. And then he was much more active. He was like, I was like, how you doing? He's like, I'm good. I was like, how's your foot? He's like, I don't feel it. And I was like, all right, but like, you're okay? Like, he's like, yeah. He's like, I still don't know what happened, but I'm okay. And I saw that they put a catheter in his neck. So he was like bleeding a little bit. I guess they were trying to draw blood or do dialysis. I don't know. So I said, well, listen, everybody's here. I'm going to let them in, and then I'll come back. So it was 2 at a time. So everybody goes in. My cousin, his brothers, their wives, everybody goes in to see him. And then I go in last again. And I go in and I'm like, how you doing? And he's like, I feel fine. Like I'm okay. And I was like, all right, listen, I've been here for 6 hours. Wife and son are home. I'm going to go check on them, make sure everything's okay, because they're home alone. And I was like, you got your phone? He's like, yeah. Like he literally was like this. Yeah, right here. I was like, if you need anything, call me. I was like, I don't know, like, I don't know when the surgery is going to happen. I was like, doesn't matter. You need anything, call me. And I'll call you tomorrow. Just check in, see how you're doing. And I was like, listen to whatever they say. Get yourself good, get yourself better, and I'll give you a call tomorrow, and we'll go from there. And he's like, all right, sounds good. He's like, and he literally said, he's like, make sure sounds is okay. Say hi to Leo, and my wife. And I was like, cool. And that was the last thing I said to him. And I leave the hospital. That was about 5:30. And I get a message on a WhatsApp from my aunt, my mom's sister. And she's like, I just left her at the gate. Here's the itinerary. Her flight lands at 5:30 a.m. And I'm like, no problem. I'll be there. Texting my boss. I was like, yo, this is a situation. I got to pick up my mom. I was like, I'll keep you posted. I don't know what's happening. I was like, but I had called him earlier that day and I was like, yo, I'm probably going to work from home tomorrow. He's like, don't worry about it. If you got to stay at the hospital, take care of your dad. Don't worry about work. We got it. I was like, okay. So my mom's flight lands at 5:30 a.m. Monday, the 12th. And I go home. I pass by ShopRite. I pick up a couple stuff that my wife texted me to get. I come home. I eat dinner. My sister-in-law's here. And 7:15, 7:20, my phone is ringing. And I have like the spam thing on, but I had turned it off because I was like, oh, the hospital's going to, if they got to call me, like, they're going to call me. My phone rings and it says healthcare. I was like, oh, it's the hospital. Maybe they got some news. They got test results back, whatever. So I answer. And they go, is this Jonathan? I said, yeah. So you're, what did she say? Your dad's heart started to give out again, and we have him on a ventilator.
His oxygen.
His oxygen was dropping or whatever, and we put him on a ventilator so that he doesn't stop breathing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
An hour.
I was just there.
I was just there. And they were like, yeah, we need to know if his heart stops again, if you're okay with us bringing him back. And I go,
dude,
yo, what kind of question is that?
Yeah.
And then I go, yeah. And then she goes, if need be, are you okay with us doing like chest compressions, the electric shit? And I was like, she was like, I forget what she said. I don't know if it wasn't artificial, but she was like, are you okay with us using artificial means, I'm paraphrasing, to bring him back? I was like, yes, do whatever. Yes, I'm on my way. So I immediately call my uncle. And I go, Uncle Rich, the hospital just called me. They got him on a ventilator. I don't know what's going on. I'm on my way there. When I have any updates, I'll call you. And he's like, Jesus Christ. He's like, okay. He's like, whatever you hear, call me. Cool. On the way to the hospital, I call you. And I was like, yo, I forget what I said. I was like, I don't know your night routine with your wife, but if you guys pray together, I was like, pray for my dad.
Yeah.
This is what's going on. I'm on my way there now. I'll keep you updated with anything. So I get there. Forget what time it was. I don't know, 8:15. Visiting hours close at 8. And I buzzed in and I was like, hey, my dad's in the room right there. I'm here to see him. So she buzzes me in. She goes, go ahead. And when I get into the room, he's on the ventilator, and his eyes are open. Like, I'm talking like wide open. And every 20, 30 seconds, he would blink. And I'm like, what happened? His levels were dropping, a bunch of, whatever, everything that he was, I don't know, blood pressure, whatever. Everything was dropping. So we put him on a ventilator to help him breathe, and we're monitoring him. And we're and we want to start dialysis tonight so that he can be prepped for surgery either tomorrow or Tuesday, because this is Sunday night, right? And I'm like, listen, I know visiting hours close at 8, but I'm not leaving. I was like, can I stay in the room? She's like, you can't stay in the room. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going home. Can I stay in the waiting room? She's like, I need to ask my supervisor. So she goes, she asks. She goes, yes, you can stay in the room. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, yo, what? Yeah. While I'm in the room, his doctor calls me, his actual doctor. He goes, my name is Dr. Patel. I know you have a lot of questions about your father. Obviously, you know that his health was not great. But he's like, I don't have answers yet. And I was like, doctor, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm not leaving. He's like, I'm sure I'll meet you at some point tonight. I'm on my way to the hospital. And I'm like, okay. He was like, his levels are not stable. And our goal now, like the original goal was to find out why his heart stopped. Now our goal is to, they had sent blood work out and all that shit to go find out why his heart stopped. But he was like, our goal now is to, we're still waiting on those answers, on those results. But now his levels are not stable, and our goal is to stabilize him. He's not stable. And I'll meet you at some point tonight, and I will keep you updated with everything. So I was like, okay. At that point, my uncle I just got off the phone with the doctor. My uncle texted me. He's like, what's going on? So I called him. I was like, this is the situation. He's like, all right, I'm going. So I get into the waiting room, 8:15. 9:05, give or take, my aunt walks in. Because I had told him, I was like, yo, call your brother, call my uncle, call my aunt, let him know what's going on. I'm on my way to the hospital. My aunt walks in, and I told her what's up, the situation, what's going on. 20 minutes later, both my dad's brothers walk in. And now there's 4 of us. And I was like, I told them everything that I knew. I was like, the doctor called me. He said this. This is what the nurse said. That's all I got. 15 minutes later, the nurse comes back out. She goes, the visiting room is closed. But given the situation, I will allow 2 people to stay. We're breaking protocol, but I will allow 2 people to stay. And I'm like, I don't even know what, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yo.
Yeah, at that point.
I told my uncles, I was like, listen, I live the closest. If you guys, I was like, I don't want to, but if you guys want to stay, I live the closest. I can get here in 10, 15 minutes. You guys live 45 minutes out. And my uncle was like, no, he's your dad. You stay. So my aunt was like, I'll stay with him. So they go home. They live 3 blocks from each other. So they're close. They came together. So then they leave. And me and my aunt were sitting there from 9:30 till 12:30, a little bit past midnight. I had already stopped texting you because you went to sleep, and I didn't have answers. I had nothing.
Yeah.
And his doctor walks out of the room, his actual doctor, the one who called me, and he goes, I know you got a lot of questions. We started dialysis, then we stopped. Now he's on a 24-hour dialysis, because dialysis is a 4-hour process when he does it here. They were like, he's now on a 24-hour dialysis because it's much more gentle on his body, and we need to do it. And he's like, I still don't have answers. His levels are not stable, and we are trying to stabilize him. When I have more answers, I'll give it to you. And I was like, yo, I just need an honest answer. Like, is he going to make it? And the response I got was, it's hour by hour. And I'm like, oh, and I,
what does that mean?
Right.
Like, what is that?
Like,
How am I supposed to take that?
Yeah. So then that was like 12:30. 2:30 a.m. rolls around. The doctor comes back out. And he goes, we're throwing everything we can at him. And it's like whack-a-mole. He's got 10 levels, unstable, dropping. We give him something to raise this drops. We attack that, it goes back up, this other one drops. He's like, but I'm gonna try. He's like, I understand it may not be the answer that you want, but I can't do nothing. If I do nothing, everything drops. So I have to, he's like, I have to do my best here. And he's like, it's not looking good, I'll be honest, but he's like, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make this work. It's still hour by hour. And then he goes, I need you to come look. So he brings me and my aunt into the room. And I hadn't seen him at that point. Last time I saw him was 5:30. So now it's 2:30 in the morning. No, I'm sorry. Last time I saw him was 8 when I walked in. Now his eyes are a little bit more closed, you know, still awake, but like I would say like 60%, like, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like what are we doing here? And the doctor walked into the room with us. And then I go, doctor, listen, my mother's in Brazil. She's on a flight right now on her way back. I need his brothers here. And he was like, that's fine. So my aunt calls my 2 uncles. They come. They probably show up. I don't know. It was like 3 o'clock, 3:15 in the morning. And maybe 20 minutes after that, after they got there, the doctors, that doctor came in and he goes, he's like, I don't think he's gonna make it. Flat out. He's like, I don't think he's gonna make it. That's when I texted you. It was like 3-something in the morning. That's 3-something in the morning. Yeah. I was like, yo, it's not looking good. They don't think he's gonna make it. I texted my wife the same thing. She was already asleep. And he was like, it's hour by hour at this point. We're doing everything we can, but he's like, it's not looking good, is the best thing I can tell you. And every 30 minutes or so, and the doctor said he's unresponsive. You know, he was like, he's not sedated. He's not in a medically induced coma. He's awake. He's feeling all of this, but he's unresponsive. So he doesn't move. You pinch him, he doesn't react. He's like a vegetable sitting there. And then I want to say, I mean, you know, I'm crying my eyes out. His siblings are crying. And I think 4:45 it was. I go, the doctor, because the doctor checked in every half hour. He would come in and look at the numbers and look at the, you know, because he had 14 IVs hooked up to him.
Wow.
He had the ventilator, he had a dialysis machine hooked up, and he had 14 IVs hooked up, 14 different things dripping into him.
Yeah.
And I go, it's 4:45, and I go, doctor, like at that point, we had the realization of he's going to go. The doctor literally came in and said he's going to go this morning. He's going to pass this morning. And in my mind, I'm thinking of like, yo, Hail Mary. You know, I'm holding his hand. I'm crying. I'm praying. I was like, God, if there's a miracle, like this is when we need it right now. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's the furthest thing from my mind. I'm not thinking he's going to pass. I'm thinking
we're going to one way or another.
Backs against the wall, but
we're going to pull out of this.
Right.
Yeah.
So then 4:45 goes, and I look at the doctor, and I look at my aunt and my 2 uncles, and I was like, yo, I'm leaving to go pick up my mom. It's 30 minutes. I think I left at like 5. I like the GPS literally said 30 minutes flat. So I was like, she lands at 5:30. I was like, I'll leave. Like it was like 4:50. I left to go to the parking lot, get the car, whatever. I was like, keep him alive for my mom to get here. Because mind you, this whole shit went down. She was in the plane. She had no idea. I get to Newark Airport. I'm refreshing because I have my mom's location. I'm refreshing, and it just keeps saying, 9 hours ago, Brazil, 9 hours ago, Brazil. Keep refreshing, and then it says Newark. Boom. Okay, she landed. I text her, Mom, where are you? Just landed, waiting for my luggage. Great. This is where I'm at. I'm at the gate here. Cool. She comes out. She gets in the car, and she goes, so what's the news? And I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be alive when you get back. And she didn't say anything. Just silent. So I'm doing 95 on the way back to get there as fast as possible. I texted my aunt. I go, on the way back. Just picked her up. She's like, drive careful. I didn't even ask anything. Didn't even ask how, you know what I mean? I'm not in the frame of mind to find out. Get back. We get into the room. I buzz in, and the lady was like, who is that? I was like, this is my mother, his wife. So we get in, and my mom just immediately starts crying. And at that point, my dad's eyes were kind of going. Like, they were starting to close, but they were, like, he looked like he just got electrocuted. Like, his eyes were like not, the eyelids were like cross-eyed. Not even. And this is 6:15. My wife wakes up. She texts me, what's going on? I go, flat out, he's not going to make it. She goes, excuse me? What do you mean? I was like, he's not going to make it. He's going to go this morning. She goes, okay, I'm coming. She drops off our son at the babysitter. She heads straight there. You responded, I think, 8-something when you woke up. And at that point, my cousin comes. Our old pastor comes. A friend of the family comes. The room is loaded at this point, whereas there's 8 people in there. And I want to say 8:30-ish, give or take. It was a change of shift, so new nurse came in. One of the head doctors comes in and he goes, who's the wife? And my mom was right next to me, and I go, right here. And he goes, we're doing everything that we can, but we can only give him so much of what we're giving him in terms of the dosage before it starts turning into poison. Every 6 minutes, they were giving him a fat tube. So this thickness, but twice the length of adrenaline or something. They were injecting like right in. Every 6 minutes, I saw them go through like 40 tubes. And he was like, that right there, what she's doing, as he's saying it to us, the nurse came in and did it. He was like, that right there is what's keeping him alive. I can do this all day with you guys, but it's going to get to a point where we are not looking out for the patient, and there's nothing more to be done here. So my question for you, to my mom, is, are you okay with us to stop doing that? And then she doesn't have an answer. She's crying. And she's like, she can't even talk because she's like choking up. She's like, you know what I mean? Like when you're crying so bad, you're just like, like that. And she's like, I don't want you to kill him. I was like, that's not what he said. And I said it in Portuguese. I was like, the ship has sailed. There's nothing that can be done. The more that they do that, the more it worsens him. And we're just going around in a circle. So he's asking, he's still going to be hooked up to the ventilator. He's still going to be hooked up to the IVs, but he's asking if we can stop doing that and let his heart go naturally. And then my mom was like, I don't know. And I understand that position, put your mom in that position. Like you can't, you know what I mean?
I can't even begin to imagine.
Right. So then my mom doesn't have an answer. And I go, I explained the situation. I said, Mom, this is the situation. I'm okay with it. We're running we're lap after lap after lap, and to no avail, because they inject him with this, numbers spike back up, they go back down. And it's going to get to a point where they're just going to start plummeting.
Right.
So I go, I'm okay with it. I go, are you okay with it? And the doctor's still in the room. And she goes, yes, I just don't want you to kill him. I was like, we're not killing him. We're not giving him the adrenaline anymore. We are allowing his heart to go naturally. And then she nods. And then I go to my aunt. I said, Aunt Marcia, are you good with it? Because I was like, I'm not calling the shots here. It's unanimous or nothing. She nods her head. Go to my uncle. Yes. Go to my uncle. Yes. So the doctor's like, okay. And then
Brutal, dude. Absolutely.
Worst day of my life, dude. By far.
Like that moment right there. Like I was listening to you, I'm putting myself in your shoes with my dad or my parents.
No comparison.
I can't even.
No comparison.
I can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah, this was 8:30, 8:45 in the morning. And then I think the last person to show up, Jose got there. He was still alive, technically. So Jose saw him pass. Jose was in the room. And Jose, for a guy who you rarely see emotions out of, it got to a point where he had to walk out. And Jose's like, shit could hit the fan. He's not a guy that's easily shook, with stuff. And for him to get up and walk out, like just to take a breather, like he walked out of the room, he, like shaking his head. I was like,
yeah.
And then he passed. I want to say 10 something in the morning. And I apologize, the part that I left out when the doctor came to talk to me and my aunt out in that room, when I asked him why this is happening, he's like, his heart's failing and his liver's failing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then he passed, and then, little by little, people started to, leave, and I stayed, and then you got there. And then Kev got there, and when you and Kev got there, he had already passed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Absolutely brutal, man.
Worst. I was at the hospital for almost 24 hours.
Yeah.
When you subtract the hour and a half, hour 45 that I was
remember
home,
you were out of there. You were out of
Yeah.
it. Like you were exhausted.
With no sleep. And then we went home, and I just laid in bed. And just like, dude, it's like your brain got hit and your heart got hit with like a nuke.
Yeah.
And your body, just by default or autopilot, just is going. But you're not, like, I'm not going. It's just the body by itself.
And combined with the emotions of everything. Yeah, man, I loved your dad. Dad was awesome. I mean, you already know this, but for everybody else, and hopefully for Leo, if you listen to this 20 years from now, I'd always show up here. Your dad would always be in the living room. Hi, Patrick. Say,
in the same spot.
Mr. Patrick. So you'd call me Mr. Patrick. I would go in there. We'd talk, talk a little bit of politics. You'd always ask about my son, my wife. How's everything going? Nicest guy. Always. Whenever we're outside, like smoking cigars in the past, you'd come out and have a little conversation also.
Yeah, you always wanted to be around other people. Always.
So I have nothing obviously bad to say about your dad. Your dad was an awesome guy. I'm going to miss him. I already miss him very much.
Yeah.
Just walking in here today, it's been, obviously I was here a couple, like that week, but it's been a while. I'm coming here today, walking in, Like I missed his presence.
Yeah.
His presence there.
Yep.
Today. And that just goes to show, man. Like people have an impact. Sometimes, dude, an impact that we don't even realize.
Yep.
Like on me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like as a quote unquote not family member, like it's still an impact that, it hurt. It hurt a lot. And you can't imagine that until something like this happens. So it's not about, obviously it's very, very sad. But I think it's important to at least mention this is we as Christians, as sad as it is for us here, because we're still here, your father had a relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we hope and pray that we know where he is.
No doubt.
So
No doubt.
He's living a better life right now. He's a happier man. He doesn't have any of the sicknesses that he had here, none of those health problems that he had here for years, all the suffering. It's gone. Yeah. Right now, he is living a life of pure bliss and at the feet of the Lord, which is what we all want. It's the dream. It's essentially what we want for us after we depart. So I think it's important to mention that because, like, again, as sad as it is for us, he couldn't be happier right now. It just sucks for us because we're still here in this, on this world suffering and
shithole,
and we miss him obviously, very much. But just because we're at an hour 15, I think it's also important. Let's talk a little bit. I think it's weird, right? Because I was thinking like, I think for us as sons, losing our fathers, it's tough because it's like he was at some point in our lives, he was all of these things. He was a provider, a protector, a guide, even good or flawed. Like at some point in our lives growing up, he was all those things. And then sometimes as we get older, sometimes our dad becomes one less thing, right? Now instead of him being a provider, protector, and a guide, maybe now he's just a protector and a guide, but no longer a provider because now we work, right? And slowly they become one less thing. But realistically, when you really think about it, they remain all of those things. We stop taking advantage of those things that they have always been
right
to us. So I think losing a father for sons, specifically for boys, it's different because it's like it's losing the man before the man before us. Before we were men, it was the man that was there.
He was the man.
Yeah, he was the man before we were the men. He was the only other man.
Yep.
And a shield, quote unquote, against the world is the man, the only man in your life who's you see as stronger, as smarter, as all these things, when we're children. So to lose that, like, again, dude, I'm not speaking from experience, but losing my grandpa, my dad spoke to me a little bit about how I felt for him. So I'm kind of leaning on that experience a little bit also about how my dad at 60 something, lost his father, but it still hit him that hard. And these are the words he used with me. So even a grown man like my father at 60 something talking about losing his father as if he was a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
That's how he spoke about it. And I'm sure some of this is you're probably relating to some of that as well. So yeah, like for us as men, it's different, right? Like I feel like it hits different, and I don't know, man. I feel like if we had a bad relationship with our dads, if once they're gone, I still feel like there's a part of us there that would hurt a little different than losing. Like when we lose, I can imagine like when I lose my mom, I can't see it. It's going to be a different hurt.
Yep.
A different feeling than losing my father. And because of those things I just mentioned, it was the man before the man, right?
Your mother is the warmth Your father
Yeah.
is the shield,
The shield. Yeah.
you know, and
The example.
whether perfect example for me, I'm an only child, and I mean, but it still, I think, still works in your favor because you have a sister, not a brother.
Yeah.
The not to sound corny, but now I am the heir to the throne,
Yeah.
and I mean this.
Protector of the realm.
I mean this in the most basic way possible. I don't want it. You know, he was out of work for over a decade. My mother like paid the bills. You know, she's the one who had all the accounts. She would send the money to pay this, to pay that. She would she would take him to and from dialysis, take him to all his appointments, do this, do that. He wasn't driving. And let's be honest, did the bare minimum at the house. He would shower, he would eat, he would sit on the sofa. But those three things, it was, I don't even, he did it with grace.
Yeah.
What's the word? The aura that he had.
Selfless.
Like he did nothing. Like, and when I don't mean that in a negative way, but I'm saying like he wasn't like, you know, painting the house. He wasn't cleaning. He wasn't doing. He just sat there.
Yeah.
But the calmness that I had coming home every day with him there was a sense of like ease and protection. Like he's here, you know. Even if tomorrow,
Yeah.
somebody broke into our house to rob us or kill us, he's too weak, quote unquote, to do anything about it. I'm the one that would have to go into the safe, grab the guns, and start blasting. Anyways, I started blasting. But I have no doubt he would, at the bare minimum, would put his life on the line to protect me, his wife, his daughter-in-law, or his grandson.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's is that was one of the things I talked to you that week. I was like, hey, like as much as at the hospital, actually we talked when we were at the grabbing coffee. I said, hey, today really sucks and it's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really gonna suck when you get home. Because at home is where you guys spent all of your time, and it's where you're used to all of your presences, like of everybody there. Everybody has a presence in this house, and that's where you're gonna really feel it because your routine is gonna get thrown out of whack.
oh, I felt it.
Yeah.
And then that day when he passed was the worst day of my life. The second worst day of my life was the funeral on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
It was rough.
the dude. A good friend of mine called me. He went to the funeral too. He was there. And he lost his mom to cancer 2 years ago. And he said, you think it hurts like hell now? Wait until Friday when you see his face live for the last time. And that, dude, I was on Friday on the funeral when everybody left. We probably stayed for another 10, 15 minutes. I procrastinated so long to not leave that funeral home. And I shit you not, I was like walking backwards, looking at the casket. Because I was like, yo, this is the last time I'm ever going to see his face in the flesh, other than pictures or videos and stuff.
And your memories.
And memories.
Yeah, that's it. Like the last time you'll see him in person.
And you know what hit even more? I'm 35. Oh, shit, your birthday's tomorrow? Ha! Oh, I'm thinking of the day. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
It's tomorrow.
Oh, well, 2 hours. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I'm 30. You're going to be 33. I'm 30.
Jesus' age.
Oof. Senna was 34. Not a comparison, but you know,
Yeah.
Senna's the GOAT. I was thinking about this. I'm 35. for shits and giggles, if I make it to 75, if 75 is my age when I pass, 40 years without seeing his face.
That's crazy.
I hit you with one better. If I make it to 71 and I die at 71, I'll have lived longer without him than I did with him.
Insane. That's insane.
And that,
it's a little scary.
you know, when you look at like a really difficult math equation on the board and your brain just can't process,
Yeah.
those two sentences
That's scary.
don't compute up here.
Can't even.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like I go to think about it, and this is what happens, and then
Yeah.
it just exits.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
like you said before, it's never going to be the same again.
Nope.
Also think it's important to mention that, again, because I'm trying to relate this to men, right? Because that's probably most people that listen to this, 16 of you listen to this, probably mostly
the
men.
16 of you.
Mostly men. And even in the future, whoever else listens to this, it'll probably be mostly men. You know, a podcast called Dad Noise. That's what I'm imagining. So I'm trying to relate it to a lot of guys. I think it's important to mention that it is okay it's okay to weep. It's okay to mourn. Actually, mourning is biblical. Bible mentions moments in the Bible where even Jesus wept. David mourned. I think the wording was David grieved deeply, something like that. Because again, we want to be strong. We want to put on a character for our wives and for our family, whatever. And usually our mentality, our mental health, so to speak, is usually the last one that everybody thinks about because we're men, we're strong, we got this, and even we put our own mental health last. And we just put some Band-Aids on it with, you know, either isolation, whiskey,
music,
cigarettes,
yeah,
like whatever, you
Tobacco.
know, whatever people want to, however way people want to put on these Band-Aids. So there is a risk also that unless you're careful, and honestly, I think it happens a lot with people who are already don't have a lot of people in their lives. Luckily, you and I, like we don't have that problem.
Yeah.
But there's always the risk, I think, of isolation or anger that gets built up. Also, sometimes when I don't know if your dad was this or not, but like in our family, my grandpa was essentially the patriarch of the family because he was the oldest living man, and he was also a literal patriarch because essentially everything that our family is now kind of stemmed from him. Our family before him, poor farmland, just very poor farmers in Brazil. He was the first one he was a dentist. My aunt became a dentist. My dad became a chemist. My other aunt's a physical therapist. Like it was from him that the family shot up the totem pole, so to speak. So sometimes when we lose a man like that, we tend to drift away from the family because he was the one that brought everybody together. So there's a chance of people like drifting away. The reason I mention this is because it's not just for you, because I know you don't have a lot of these risks because again you're blessed in a way that you have friends. Like I will tell you if I feel like I'll always tell you if I feel like you're messing up in a way or if you're slacking here, and I'm sure your wife will.
Yep.
Your other family members
for damn sure she will.
We are lucky to have people like that in our lives, but for anybody else who's listening to maybe experience some loss, there's a risk of all of these things, drifting away from family, isolation, right? And anger that gets built up because death causes a lot of anger depending on who you are and the reasoning. And it's one of those things we don't understand, right? Nobody's died and come back to tell you how it is.
Only Jesus.
Oof, amen. But nobody that we know that has gone and then come back and here's what happened. It actually, I was here and then this happened and this is how it is. It's fine. Or hey, it sucks. Like there's none of that, right? So it's something that a lot of people don't understand, especially if you're not a Christian. Like you just don't understand. Actually, if you're not a Christian, you just think nothing happens, which I think is even scarier.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is to watch out for these things that can creep up in moments like these, right? When we lose people in our lives that are critical, that are important, that mean a lot, that fill a huge part of our hearts. When we lose people like that, it's a very good chance that all these things are going to want to creep up to take over, mentally, physically, emotionally. But then there's also the other side of this. Situations like this, losing, let's say, a father, may cause also you to want to be a better father, may cause you to now want to be a better son to your mom,
Absolutely.
be a better husband. As great as our parents are, as great as our dads are,
you always want to be better.
Right. There are things that let's say they weren't perfect in, things that we want to improve on, mistakes that they made that we don't want to make.
And we're going to make mistakes that our sons are going to want to correct.
Absolutely.
It's a never-ending cycle.
Absolutely. So that's exactly my point. Like the idea that there's also positives that can come out of this, and those are the things we should focus on. You know, the people that we love that we just lost, what would they want for us? What story would they want written for us? So I think it's important to remember that, because to a certain extent, we don't want, let's say, your dad's death to be in vain, right? Like you don't want negative things to come out of his death. If anything, the only negative thing would be you missing him, but you want all positive things to come out of it. Maybe your family gets closer together.
Yeah.
Maybe you, your aunts, and your uncles like draw closer. Maybe you guys. What happened after my grandpa died is every Sunday in Brazil, our family would get together at the house and make churrasco, make barbecue every single Sunday while they were alive. And the fear was once my grandparents passed that was never going to happen again. But the family made an effort to make sure that that never stopped happening. And now it just happens at my aunt's house. It's a different place. But essentially, that could have ended. Like that could have been a negative effect where the family stops getting together because the place where it happened, the patriarch is gone. You know, the point is there's a lot of positives. And I think that's what your father, you know, or anybody and people like that, when we lose them, that's what they would want for us to focus on, especially. Because his legacy needs to be one of growth for us who are still here representing what he left behind.
Yeah.
You know?
3 things, and I'll end it with that. You mentioned the patriarch. My dad was 8 years older than his next sibling. And my 2 uncles and my aunt, they are a different edge of the sword. I'm proud of all of them. They've all had a great life, have great families, and make the family and the last name proud. But I think my father was the handle of the sword. Even though he did the least in terms of his late life, like the end of his life, he, I think, was the glue that he would always call them, see how they're doing. And being the oldest, I think, hits hard when your oldest brother goes, you know. But I'll say this too. You find you're always looking for some kind of regret or something you could have done differently, but you could have been the perfect person, and you're still going to find some way to have regret. I look at it like this, dude. He got to see my son turn 2. He got to see his son get married. Mm. He got to see and meet and have a relationship with his daughter-in-law. And he got to see all of you guys become as close as we've become, all of us, the entire group, for the last decade and a half. And this is what I told my mom. If he had... Everything happens for a reason, and I thank God for allowing him to pass the way he passed, because I think that if my dad had went to the hospital a month sooner, he could have passed a month sooner. But instead, he got to see my son turn 2. He got to see Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, my birthday. And on the other side of things, let's say he was stubborn and didn't go to the hospital and waited and prolonged it another week. His heart gave out when he was just in the room by himself. Me or my wife could have came home to him dead on the sofa for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And that would have been an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
How I look at it, how God gave us, and not just me, the entire family, those last hours, my dad was able to, and the doctor told us, he was like, he can hear you when we went into the room. And I said what I needed to say to him in his ear. I made my peace with him. And God allowed 80% of my family to come into the room, converse with him, touch him, give him a hug, say, feel better. And God allowed me, my aunt, my two uncles, his brothers and sister, to be with him in his final moments. And as shitty as it is, him not being here, we were at least able to, and my mother who came later, we were allowed to be with him as a family and experience that together. Because I would, if I would have broke if I was there alone. If it wasn't for my aunt and my two uncles being there with me, I would have been an absolute mess.
Yeah.
And I'll end it with what I sent to my uncle, which was Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. NIV version, because I can't do the King James version. King James is too tough. There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. It was my dad's time to die. It's our time to live. It's also our time to mourn. And it's my dad's time to dance. And I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So, to my father,
To your pops.
you'll be missed, not just by your family, but by all the lives that that he touched without even knowing that he touched, you know?
Yeah.
The stories that I got from the funeral and all this stuff from people that I didn't even know existed and just came to me and tell me a story about him.
Yeah.
And I think that I speak for my entire family, that we are proud of the 64 years of life that he was on this earth, but the time that he gave us as well. So, as much as it sucks for us down here, I have no doubt that if you play your cards right, we'll meet again.
We shall meet again.
We'll meet again.
Jesus is King.
Amen, brother.
Cheers.
Dad, I'll see you soon. But as the ending of Gladiator says, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Was that actor? Not yet.
I forget the guy's name. Oh, by the way, so I was going to tell you, advice. If you go to a funeral, okay?
Oh, you still have advice for this
I
episode?
have advice because
I actually had some advice, but go ahead.
Dude,
this is good.
This is for anybody who goes to a funeral. It doesn't matter if it's a family member, if you're going to a friend of
I can't believe
somebody's.
you actually have advice for this
Yo,
episode.
don't film in the funeral. There was some schmuck What are you filming my dad's body? What's the matter with you?
I didn't see that. Really?
My wife told me. And then she said that it's same thing. So my wife found out that her grandfather died. Her grandfather died in Venezuela, and they didn't get a chance to go to the funeral. But someone like went on Facebook Live during the funeral. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, they did that. They did that for my grandpa because we were here. We couldn't go.
There's a difference between filming the funeral for the family versus some schmuck. Because I didn't know who that was. That's my dad.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who that guy was or that person. Then over there, piss off, dude.
Yeah.
Like, have some decency, you know? Anyways.
I'm glad you had some. You still had some advice for this one.
Jesus Christ, dude. People are so stupid, man. Anyways, we'll be back next week.
We went much longer than what we thought we would, but your dad deserves another 6 hours here.
Yeah, touche.
Cheers,
Dad. We will continue this podcast, and
maybe you'll listen to it up there.
Yeah, and you are honored down here in a good way. So, love you, and we'll. Pat loves you, and
we do.
We'll meet again. God bless.
God bless everybody. Thanks for listening.